Here's another exclusive clip from Wrestling Reality with Justin LaBar, brought to you by Gladiators of the Cage.
Let's talk about Kevin Owens, because I am able to be on Twitter. I'm sitting here on Twitter right now, and Kevin Dunn is trending. Half the people are either saying, F Kevin Dunn, or the other half are saying, why is he trending? Please tell me he got fired. Kevin Dunn, for those of you who don't know, he's the longtime executive producer of WWE television. He is he's the one that steers the direction of the television. Obviously, he works very close and is a longtime friend and right-hand man of Vince McMahon. And it's been known that Kevin Dunn, he's not well liked by a lot of people. Kevin Dunn's a guy that he's very superficial. I've never worked under Kevin Dunn, but from everything that's ever been said or told about in interviews, he didn't like having Jim Cornette or Jim Ross on commentary because they sounded too Southern, and he doesn't like anybody that's not in perfect shape. He doesn't, and that's kind of where Kevin Dunn's coming into play here, is that supposedly, he is, there's obviously a question about Kevin Owens. It seems the company's somewhat split. That maybe the Triple H is a Kevin Owens guy and believes in Kevin Owens, but then supposedly Kevin Dunn might be in Vince's ear and not real big on Kevin Owens, and he's too big. And then Randy Orton made that comment last night of Kevin, did you put on weight? And Kevin just simply no-sold it and said no. And supposedly that was a deliberate, planned comment. It was not a off-the-cuff, spur-of-the-moment comment. And I'll say this, and I don't know if I ever said this in the past because I didn't, when it happened, but now I can't. It's gone long enough. When Kevin Owens first got signed by WWE, Triple H was very blunt to him and said, I like your work. You put in a lot of time. I'm going to let you go and let you run here in NXT, which obviously they did right out the gate. But Triple H said very bluntly to him, we'll let you run down here and we'll see what happens. But if and when you get to the main roster, I don't know how it's going to go. He was very blunt in saying to Kevin that most people don't realize Vince McMahon had nothing. Like, Vince McMahon did not even see or deal with Kevin Owens for quite some time. It was that it's not like Vince was part of like the signing and recruiting process of Kevin Steen. And Triple H said, when Vince gets to look at you and gets around you, he might not like your look. You're a little unconventional looking. And Triple H said, obviously, if you can trim some pounds, do it just to stay in the best health and condition as possible. But I know you're not going to be, skinny mini ever. You're built the way you are. And that was that. And so then when I saw him kind of out of the gate come up and beat Cena and everything, I was like, you know what? Maybe something about Kevin's personality or intensity or whatever has been embraced by Vince, or Triple H completely has the trump card to steer Kevin Owens the way he wants to steer, and Vince is just kind of letting it go. But now that we're hearing what we're hearing, and of course Kevin Owens has, since the last match with Cena, it has, the momentum for Kevin has slowed up. It does seem like Kevin Dunn is somebody is against Kevin. Somebody in power is against Kevin Owens, or somebody's, and that's unfortunate. I firmly believe that the WWE will be a much better place when Kevin Dunn is gone. And supposedly Triple H and Stephanie aren't big Kevin Dunn fans, and Kevin's not big fans of them in terms of business-wise. And of course, whenever Stephanie and Triple H take over, I think that will probably signal the end of Kevin Dunn's time. And that probably can't come fast enough. Kevin Dunn's a guy that's the advocate for the reality shows, for Total Divas, and for Tough Enough, which I don't mind either of those shows, even though Tough Enough has sucked this year. But I like the concept of, I don't mind reality shows. But Kevin Dunn wants everything else but wrestling. He does not. He's the guy. He is the root of the problem. A lot of people attribute it to Vince McMahon because Vince is the known boss and control. But I don't think it's as much that. I think Vince wants entertainment, and Vince might have bad humor, but Vince still, I think, appreciates a good wrestling match, a good story. He's very meticulous in his. Vince has a headset and he sits back there and he measures the littlest details from the entrances to the. Here's a good Vince McMahon quick detail story. Vince has Vince is on a headset back there, and he can communicate to anybody at any time. He can communicate to the truck, he can communicate to Rat. He can really get a hold of anybody if he wants at any time. And back when Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara was being pushed real hot and heavy when they first signed him. Remember that he used to have the smoke that would come from the just above, come from the scaffolding just above where Sin Cara would come out of the curtain. one of the first times I guess they did it, Vince saw it, and Vince just started cussing a tirade on the thing. And because he thought it looked, because what are we, steaming vegetables in the grocery store? He thought it was too misty. He wanted the intensity and the pressure of the smoke basically turned up and full blast. And so from that point on, they blasted the smoke as Sin Cara was coming out. And well, my point of that story is it's a little details. Vince really will meister each individual things, and that's Vince McMahon. And obviously, he got the company all the way to where it's been. With a great cast around him, but he's got it all the way to where it is now in 2015. I think Kevin Dunn's really the root of a lot of evil that continues to creep around and harm and affect guys' careers and politics and yada yada yada. So, and the funny thing is, Kevin Dunn's he's so superficial. Have you ever looked at the guy? Have you ever looked at him? I mean, he gets so many people call him a beaver. He just does that little look to him. Just look at him. I'm no George Clooney, but just look at him.